Hello, my amazing friends. Today we start the story of a small shop that grew into 005, a name you see on phones, TVs, fridges, and even in space technology. 012. This is the story of Samsung. It's about trust, patience, and the courage to grow. 018. Step by step. And as you listen, your English listening will get sharper. 023. Because we keep it clear, simple, and interesting. Part 1, The Seed and the 3 Stars. 031. It's the year 1938. In a busy street in Daegu, Korea, A. 037. Young man named Lee Byung opens a tiny shop. He sells dried fish, noodles. 043. Rice, and a few other basic goods. The shop is small. The dream inside his mind. 049. Is huge. Above the door, there's a wooden sign. It says Samsung, a Korean. 055. Word that means 3 stars. 3 stars to him mean big, bright, and lasting. 102. That's his goal. Lee knows something very important. People come back to the 108 place they trust. If the fish is fresh, if the noodles are clean, if the delivery is on time, customers will. 115. Return. So, he checks everything himself. If the fish smells wrong, he 121. Sends it back. If the rice is low quality, he refuses it. Every customer 127 leaves happy. They tell friends, go to Samsung. They are honest. Trust becomes 134. His real product. Then war comes to Korea. The streets are dangerous. Trains 141 stop running. Prices change every day. Many businesses close. But Lee refuses. 147 to give up. He changes what he sells depending on what people need most. Some 153 days it's food, some days it's fabric or soap. He finds new routes to bring. 158. Supplies. He works day and night. This is where he learns. Speed is more. 204. Powerful than size. A small business can move fast, and moving fast can save your. 211. Life in business. After the war, Korea starts to rebuild. People need sugar. 217. Clothes, and many basic goods. Lee asks himself, why only sell these things? 223. Why not make them? He begins producing sugar. Then he moves into textiles. 230. Making fabric and clothes. This is a big change. Selling is one. 235. Thing. Making is much harder. But by making products, he can control quality. 241. Control cost and make them better. He learns factories, workers, schedules. 247. And planning ahead. One evening, Lee hears something new in the neighborhood. It's the sound of a 254 radio. A voice from far away is talking. Families gather to listen. Not long. 301. After, someone brings home a television. Children laugh at the shows. 306. Grandparents watch the news. Life is changing. Lee sees the future. 313. People will need electronics just like they need rice and clothes. In 1969. 319. Samsung begins making electronics. The first products are simple. Black and 324. White TVs, radios, and home appliances. At first, there are mistakes. Some TVs 331 have a dim picture. Some parts break. But instead of hiding problems, the team 337 fixes them one by one. They learn to check every product. They make a rule. 344. Better to stop the line than to send out a bad product. Slowly, customers start. 349. Saying Samsung products work. By the end of the 1960s, Samsung is not just a shop. 357. Anymore. It's a company that believes in honest quality. 403. Controlling the process, patience before big growth. These values will guide. 409. Samsung for decades. And the small shop with 3 stars on its sign has taken. 415. Its first step toward becoming a global name. Part 2. The factory mind and the 422. First big steps. The 1960s had ended with a big change for Samsung. The 428. Little trading shop had now become a company that was making its own products. Sugar, textiles, and now. 436. Electronics. Black and white TVs, radios, and basic home appliances had started to leave. 443. Samsung's small assembly rooms. But this was just the beginning. Making. 449. Electronics was a completely different world compared to selling dried fish or making sugar. It was more precise, more. 458. Technical and more competitive. The company was about to enter a game where. 503. Mistakes could be deadly for a brand. When you walked into Samsung's first. 509. Electronics factory in the early 1970s, you'd smell a mix of oil, fresh paint. 515. And warm metal. Rows of workbenches were neatly lined up. On each bench sat. 522. Radios, TV parts, and boxes of tiny screws. Young workers in clean white. 528. Coats and caps moved carefully, almost like nurses in a hospital. 533. Every part was checked by hand. Every wire was placed exactly where it. 539. Belonged. A single mistake could mean the whole product would fail. Lee. 544. Biangle made one thing very clear. We will not be the fastest, but we will be. 551. The most careful. In the early days, not everything worked perfectly. 558. Some TVs came back with fuzzy pictures. Some radios made strange noises after a. 603. Few weeks. Some refrigerators had doors that didn't close properly. 609. Instead of hiding these problems, Samsung did something different. 614. They opened the broken products on a special table. The engineers and workers. 620. Stood around looking inside. What went wrong? They asked. They took. 626. Notes. They redesigned parts. They checked suppliers. Every mistake became. 631. A lesson. And slowly these lessons started to shape Samsung's factory mind. 637. The habit of always improving, always checking, always asking, can this be? 643. Better. By the mid-1970s, Samsung's TVs and appliances were selling well in. 650. Korea. But Lee was thinking bigger. He knew that the real test was not just to sell. 656. In your own country. The real test was to export, to send your products to. 702. Other countries and win customers there. So Samsung started looking for. 708. Opportunities in Asia, the Middle East, and Europe. Exporting was not easy. Different. 715. Countries had different rules, different tastes, and different price expectations. 721. For example, some countries preferred bigger TV screens. 727. Some wanted radios with better sound for music. Others wanted cheaper models with. 732. Fewer features. Samsung had to learn to adapt to each market. This was a new skill. Not just. 740. Making products, but making the right products for the right people. 745. One of Samsung's early big moments came when they secured deals to supply TVs to. 751. Other Asian markets. These were not luxury TVs. They were affordable, simple. 758. Models that worked well and lasted long. The prices were competitive. A customer. 804. In another country could buy a Samsung TV for much less than a European or American brand and still get good. 812. Quality. This strategy worked. Samsung began to build a reputation. 819.